do it.
Right now?
Yeah, right now. Hi, everybody. Do it. Okay. Here, do it.
Is it on?
Yeah, it's on. So, we haven't done one of these in a while, and today Carolyn had the opportunity to be on the Robbie Raw show. Yeah, let's tag you in that. There.
Yeah, she's a gracious, lovely host, and nice enough to have me on again to discuss the brain injury books. And I think there's a delay with the talking. I can see how slow it is. Like I'm done talking, and then my lips are moving. Don't you hate that when you watch like movies like that, like karate movies
but
like that? But
they won't notice that. We won't be doing kung fu talking.
It's bugging me.
Hi, Julie. Hi, Adrienne. So, we had the opportunity to be on, well, Carolyn had the opportunity to be on the Robbie Raw, the Raw Truth show today, which was fantastic. And as she said, Robbie's always been a gracious host. And I had the pleasure of getting to know her a little bit when I worked at the BAC and she worked at the BAC. And the relationship has continued now with Carolyn being an author. She's been able to be on her show 3 times now, and on Neil Boron Live recently. So WDCX has been wonderful
yes,
to
it's
us.
Been a great blessing and a great platform just to talk about that there's help out there with anybody dealing with head injuries, brain injuries, post-concussion syndrome, and the after effects of that, which can lead to autoimmune disease and fibromyalgia, because there's such an inflammatory process going on within the body. When you have a brain injury, it's a huge inflammatory process that's started. And when you have damage within the lobes, you have all types of symptoms bombarding your body. You can have damage to the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, which can offset everything in the body. You may end up with imbalances in hormones and enzymes and neurotransmitters, and how they relate the communication to the endocrine system and your adrenal glands, which could force your body to go into adrenal fatigue with dangerously high certain hormones. That also increases inflammation in the body and can be the start of an autoimmune disease and or fibromyalgia. And also with fibromyalgia too, not only a brain injury, but anything that lowers your oxygen to the brain can be a precursor for that to start, because the nerve pathways are affected.
Hi, guys.
And they end up, and your brain senses the pain differently as well. So something that could normally be a mild touch or a very moderate pain can be more intensive, and it could be related to touch, and your body can sense it as severe within the brain, or you don't even have to touch, and all of a sudden you may have some shock or electrical impulses going through where it feels like sharp shards or spasms. It affects your muscles. It can affect your nerves. You have tender points. You can have various leg and joint pain. So we're just discussing the correlation between them and what can help within these interviews.
Yep. So I wanted to, Carolyn's going to do all the serious stuff, and I wanted to point out that she has all these notes.
Well, because I have memory problems and I need to have notes everywhere because I have trouble retaining information.
So
and I forget very easily.
Every time we prep to do either a Facebook...
It's like I'm studying for an exam.
So every time we prep to do a Facebook Live or she has a radio interview, she puts out these notes, she studies, and she gets nervous. She's an introvert, not used to being out there. So she does all these different things and she gets herself all worked up.
And then I don't even look at the notes.
Then she gets on the show. She doesn't look at the notes. She does fantastic.
And the time flies, and I feel like I don't. You always want to see so much more. So I think we're just going to add a couple more things to this, some other things that help in recovery.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So I point that out. It's pretty funny to watch the process, but she does amazing, and I'm just,
I'm a note taker.
Blessed to have such a stellarly beautiful wife, and not only beautiful but intelligent, and she's a go-getter, as it was pointed out to her.
Oh, you know what?
Recently.
I never thought I was a go-getter. I never thought that until Neil had said that, and I'm like, well, I don't know. I never thought of myself that way.
No, but you are. I have. I've noticed that. So, yeah. So there was a couple things that, when you're on a radio interview, there's so much going on and things go so fast. You think you're going to get to say a lot more than you get to say. But there was a couple things that Carol wanted to touch on that she didn't get to touch on in the radio show. And that's just because of the nature of how these things go.
Time flies. It just does. It has. I mean, these past... Time is funny with me anyway, the past 4.5+ years, ever since the injury. Time is weird for me. I'm always like a few months back. And,
right.
You realize when your food expires that time is moving by. It's like, what?
Yeah, that's how she tells time, by the food expiration of the cans in our pantry.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up.
But a couple things she wanted to touch on I thought was important. One, I'll lead into it, about exercise and about the Sanddune Stepper.
Yeah.
Matt
Dahl is...
We
is
apologize
amazing.
For one, because we had every intention of talking about your awesome tool, the Sanddune Stepper, but it just kind of came and went. So I'll let Carolyn go from here.
That has really helped me in the recovery process, because when I was talking with Robbie on the Raw Truth about recovery and wanting to drive again, because I barely drive. I'll drive to my daughter's house about a mile away, and that's about it, the back roads, because I'm still getting better when it comes to proprioception and hypervigilance, and just to go back and explain with the proprioception, it's nowhere you are at in time and space. And I had difficulty after the brain injury where I didn't know where I was at. And I had hypervigilance, and like a post-traumatic stress disorder, what a lot of soldiers suffer from. And not that I remember the injury, like saw it coming, which I didn't. It sidelined me. But your brain, there's a part of the brain that does retain, there's a lot of parts of the brain that retains memory. And there's this particular part that it will retain events that happen. So even if you didn't see it, it will hold it there. So as a protective mechanism, you become, you could be hypervigilant, and it's best when you don't have sounds coming from behind you. It's good, like to sit with your back against the wall, like if you end up in a restaurant. And it's great to have earplugs in as well, like high fidelity earplugs to help with sounds and, talking and dishes clanging and so forth, to keep out bothersome sounds. And to have that wall behind you. And with this hypervigilance, it's hard because even if you go for a walk, say, any sounds coming from behind, it could be a car on the road, somebody running by, jogging, or a bike, it sets your body off into a fight or flight mode because you're on high alert all the time. And that only, on top of it, increases your cortisol levels too, which upsets your whole homeostasis, your whole balance. So, hello, you want to say hi?
Yeah. He wants to peek on the video.
No, stop! Oh. So anyway, I lost my train of thought.
No, it's all right.
So back to that. I'm really losing my train of thought.
Yeah, sorry. So, so the Sanddune Stepper, wonderful tool.
So yes, okay. So that helps reset everything, and I want to drive again. And get a car and have that freedom to just get in and go. So with the Sanddune Stepper, that has been fantastic as far as a therapeutic tool, and it's used in certain various physicians' offices. Physical therapy, chiropractic offices, and it is essentially neurofeedback, or like a biofeedback portable that you can have in your own home. Why don't you just say hi?
No.
And
no. Stop.
So anyway, that helps retrain your brain, and you have proprioceptors. And you have exteroceptors on your feet, and it mimics walking on the beach, what it does. And it's my coffee. Oh. And so it relays the information to your brain, so it helps with balance. It helps with all kinds of issues like that, and it helps with your proprioception and helping you with hypervigilance and, with your constant fight or flight mode that you're always in. You're always in like a high alert. A lot of times, like soldiers are when they come home, because they don't have to really be in direct combat. I've spoke with, I have friends that recent friends that we've met. I mean, they could just be near like a grenade going off, but the brain will remember, and they're in constant high alert.
Right.
You know,
So
it's hard to
noises,
relate
sounds,
to
sights, certain
normalness
things will put
So,
you
but
in a
that,
heightened state.
and that's just a fantastic tool, and I wanted to mention it, and I don't know, I ran out of time, had a brain fart, I don't know, but, but Matt, I mean, you're a godsend for this, and you're really helping many people in their lives. It helps people with Parkinson's disease, and like I said, if you're going through TBI, PCS, traumatic brain injury, post-concussion syndrome, autoimmune diseases, fibromyalgia, because it's easy on the
MS.
joints. And it's great in the fitness field because it helps your strength, your mobility, your core. It helps your lymphatic system just to drain, and your limbic system, just relating everything back to the brain. So
This is a simple tool.
A simple tool, and he sent it to me, and I had the most recovery with that than actually going off to physical therapy. But I did go off to physical therapy too, with vestibular therapy to help with balance. But this has helped me so much more because it really relates to the body. Mm-hmm. So I did want to mention that as far as recovery, anybody going through something like this, and there is help out there. There's always help available for you, and not to be discouraged, whatever you're going through, what distractions you may be having, there's always help out there. And your family is help. And I'm going to be doing another book soon with family, like caregivers. I'm going to focus a lot on the spouse, and kids and what they could do. And, the younger ones are really a lot of help. Our youngest here is 11, but this was like over 4.5 years ago, and he was a tremendous help for me. He could tell.
What?
To help mom
in her really highly symptomatic,
when the injury was still fresh and I was gone to work.
He knows when I get symptomatic, or really was before in the earlier stages, and he was a great help. He would help guide me with my balance and help me to go sit, and he was a little help, bring me what I need. He was a great helper.
It was important. It was very important at the time.
Yeah,
it's good to have that family support. And
to
even
see what you're going through, and it's harder with the older kid. It could be harder with older kids too, with understanding, because it's hard to see. It's a hidden injury when somebody goes through this. It's not like they're wearing a cast, and you could tell they have an obvious injury. When it's hidden because it's in your brain, it's harder. So it's harder for people to relate because they just see the reactions, the symptoms. If you're hypervigilant and so forth, and you start to get anxious, they see the anxiety, and so do many physicians. They want to treat the anxiety, and they miss the underlying cause. And just like with these, like with autoimmune disease and fibromyalgia, it's the symptoms and treating the symptoms. But like with this, all the books are just, I'm really big on holistic, natural ways of helping, and I list a bunch of stuff in these books to help, whether, through diet, different exercises, and what is most beneficial for you. Mm-hmm. And it is hard, like I was saying too, or starting to say, like with older kids, because they're used to like mom or, even a dad or whoever, because nobody's immune, no matter what age, from an injury like this, and it could happen any which way. I mean, the brain is very delicate. It's almost like jello in this, skull of bony protrudence. And if it bounces, things are shearing and tearing, and it's just hitting all the rough edges in your brain. There's a lot of damage going on. It takes a long time to heal. And so it could be difficult for older kids that are used to seeing mom, on the ball and getting in the car and taking care of things and go, instead of like just being overwhelmed and, having it hit that way. So, but the next book after this, other one I'm about to publish.
It'll be an important book. Hey Charlie, how you doing? Good to see you on here. It's important because as a spouse to a brain injured partner, there's a lot of things you need to relearn as well, because you're used to your partner being able to do so much and act and react in a certain way. And when that is switched and suddenly the role is different, in the person that you rely on for so much. Now you have to be the person that they rely on and make sure that you're there for them, and learning patience and understanding.
You will learn patience.
Absolutely, learn patience. I've also
You'll learn patience too.
I've also learned that, and this is not meant to be insensitive, I've also learned that since her injury, she's been on a more even level with my thought processes, because she slowed down. So we're on equal levels now, as opposed to before where she was like millions of pop-ups and thoughts and things going on at one time. Now we can relate because we're at one thought at a time, one thing at a time, and that works for me just fine.
I'm beginning to multitask now, so
yeah,
I'm
which
on
gets
the
tough again. So another thing we were thinking about doing, we haven't done it yet, we're working on implementing it, but
podcast.
doing a podcast. Don't know what name we'll go with, probably Faith, Fitness, and Food with C. Ray Johnson and Rockman or something along those lines. But yeah, we'd be interested in anybody's input on that and thoughts on that, but we'll probably go forward with that at some point, and we'll keep you informed as that gets closer.
And if anybody, or you know of anybody that's dealing with any of the above that I was discussing, TBI, PCS, or even autoimmune and fibromyalgia, I'm going to start a couple other group pages with the other things too. But right now I have the Traumatic Brain Injury and Post-Concussion Syndrome Support Group. Feel free to join, and we'll add you on. And it's getting close to 900 people on there already.
A lot of support,
and there's physicians and chiropractors on there as well.
A lot of discussion going on that may help you find that path to your healing. Or to
get on there and vent, discuss the troubles you're having, the things you found that help you, anything like that, upbeat to help encourage each other that, not to give up. This is definitely the time to persevere through and, and have the courage to go through, and you'll make it. So, and there's wonderful people on there, and and I'm going to start the other group pages soon too.
Okay.
My plate's getting full.
Yes. So yeah, there's some good stuff coming up soon.
Yeah.
So some of the one book you're working on is very personal, but I think that'll create another support group and other things.
For sure.
Yeah. So a lot of good stuff cooking. Oh, I think we've taken up enough of your time. If anybody's even still listening, we appreciate that you guys dropped in. We'll be doing this again from time to time. Hopefully more steady again as we were over the summer. But that's it for now. Everybody have a great day.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. God bless.
Don't eat too many cookies.